Hi everybody, this is Lindsay from windingroadcrochet.com, and today I'm going to show you how to crochet the moss stitch. This is also known as the granite stitch or the linen stitch. If you like this tutorial, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to be notified of new videos. You can crochet the moss stitch in a single color and it makes a beautiful texture, or you can use it to make some beautiful striped patterns. I'll have a breakdown of these 4 patterns at the end of the video. For this tutorial, I'm going to be using worsted weight yarn and a size I crochet hook. To start, we're going to make a chain, and your chain can be any even number, but for this tutorial I'm making a 2" by 2" sample, and I'm making a chain of 12. The moss stitch can actually be worked with an even or an odd chain number, but for this sake of this tutorial I'm going to show you what it looks like when you have an odd number of stitches. So here's our finished chain, and I'm going to go ahead and do a row of single crochet first. So I'm going to single crochet into the second chain from the hook and in every stitch across. I just like having that foundation row of single crochets. So now that we have a foundation row of single crochet, we're going to chain 1 and turn. We are going to single crochet into the very first stitch and then start our repeat. Chain 1, skip the next stitch, and single crochet into the following stitch. And we're going to repeat this all the way down the row. So chain 1, skip the next stitch, and single crochet into the following stitch. And since we have an odd number of stitches here, your last repeat will end up in the very last stitch of the row. And then your last single crochet is in that very last stitch. So moving on to row 3, we're going to do the same repeat pattern, but we're going to have to move ourselves over so that we could work our single crochets into those chain spaces. So we're working single crochets into each chain space. To do that, we're going to single crochet into the very first stitch, and then we're going to single crochet into the first chain space. From here we can do our repeat pattern. So we're going to chain 1, skip the next stitch, and then single crochet into the chain 1 space. Chain 1 again, skip the next stitch, and single crochet into the next chain 1 space. And then repeat this all the way to the end of your row. When you reach the very end of your row, you'll have 1 stitch left over. We're going to single crochet into that very last stitch. And that is going to be your first real repeat row. So moving along to row 4, we are going to chain 1 and turn, and really this is just a repeat of row 2. We're going to single crochet into the first stitch, chain 1, but we're single crocheting into the chain spaces now. So single crochet into your chain space, chain 1, single crochet into the next chain space. We're always skipping those stitches and working directly into the chain spaces. Chain 1, single crochet into the same chain space, chain 1, single crochet, chain 1, skip this second to last stitch, and single crochet into the very last stitch. And that is your second repeat row. So continue repeating rows 3 and 4 until your sample is as long as you want it to be. I'm working it up to about 2 inches. So here is my finished 2-inch sample, and it's a really pretty texture when it's just plain like this. But I really want to inspire you by showing you some beautiful stripe patterns you can use with this stitch. Here's an example of using 4 different colors and only doing 1 row of each color and then simply repeating it, and it creates a very pretty stripe. Be warned, you will have a lot of ends to weave in. If you don't like to weave in ends, you might like the second stripe pattern. Because we do 2 rows of every color, you can actually carry your yarn up the side of your work as long as you're going to single crochet around it when you're done. As you can see here, I did 2 of gray, 2 of yellow, 2 of white. Stitch pattern number 3 has a beautiful almost ombre look. I did 4 rows in white, and then I alternated every other row. So white, then pink, white, then pink. And then I continued on with the pink. So this is another really cool way you can stripe the moss stitch. Then number 4 stripe pattern is kind of a combination of what we did with the last ones. You did 2 rows of blue, 1 of a color, 2 of blue, 1 of a color, and it creates this real nice dotted pattern throughout your project, and it's really pretty. It would look great for a blanket or a scarf. I really hope you enjoyed this tutorial. If you did, make sure to like and subscribe, and check out my other stitch tutorials and full pattern tutorials.